The Citizenship Amendment Bill 2019 was passed in the Rajya Sabha last night after an 8-hour-long debate, with 125 MPs voting in favor of it and 105 MPs voting against it. The number of MPs voting in favor was marginally more than the number of MPs voting against it. But the bill in itself, which is on its way to become a law, has a lot of loopholes, it has a lot of gaps, and we at the Logical Indian are here to point out those loopholes so that it comes into light. Firstly, let us remember that India has 7 neighboring countries, but this bill only chooses and picks Pakistan, Afghanistan and Bangladesh as countries from where religious minorities will be given a legal gateway into obtaining Indian citizenship. If the objective is to give religious minorities that are persecuted gateway into getting Indian citizenship, then why are we turning a blind eye towards Uyghur Muslims and Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar? The argument against this given by the government in the parliament is that the countries that are chosen in this bill have a declared state religion. Again, if the criteria is to have a declared state religion to be chosen as a nation in this bill, then why are we turning a blind eye towards Sri Lanka? Sri Lanka in chapter 2 of its constitution has declared Buddhism as its state's religion. And it is again well documented that Sri Lankan Christians and Sri Lankan Tamilians and Sri Lankan Muslims have been persecuted for a very long time in that island nation. What about them? They have not been included in the bill, and if the criteria again is just to have a state declared religion, then Sri Lanka very well fits. But over here it looks as though the government is only going after those countries that have Islam as their government's and the state's religion. Home Minister Amit Shah claimed that लाखों करोड़ों लोगों का फायदा होगा through the Citizenship Amendment Bill. But the Intelligence Bureau of India has said that there are only 31,313 people in India who belong to these nations who have come on long-term visa escaping discrimination against their religion and against their minority status. Out of these 31,000 odd people, 25,407 are Hindus, 5,807 are Sikhs, 55 are Christian, 2 are Buddhists and 2 are Parsis. These are the numbers, but the claim made in the parliament was of lakho and karodo. The main loophole over here is the 6-year residency period. Now, when a person from Bangladesh, Afghanistan or Pakistan crosses over and comes into India, they have to live or work here for at least 6 years in order to gain Indian citizenship by naturalization. So in those 6 years where they will be living in India, it is completely unclear whether in that period of 6 years, if they will be considered illegal migrants, if they will be given refugee status, if they will be lodged in refugee camps. That is unclear, and that plan has not been charted out. So right now, all we have in place through this bill is just an open door for migrants to come into India. Let's talk about Pakistan. We know that there's a very grave problem of blasphemy laws, of forced conversions, and those are Pakistan's internal issues. Are minorities over there persecuted? That is the question over here. Well, before Pakistan was divided into being modern day Pakistan, in 1931, 15% of the population was Hindu. In 1941, mind you, before the partition, 14% of the population was Hindu. After the partition in 1951, 1.3% of the population was Hindu, and in 1998, 1.6% of the population was Hindu. These numbers are from a Hindu advocacy group based in the United States that fight for the rights of minorities in Pakistan. They are called the HAF, Hindu American Foundation. And these are the numbers given to us by them. Now, as per the Pakistan's official data, we know that the most recent census shows us that the Hindu population in Pakistan, and I have the numbers over here, urban plus rural, is 2.96%. So there's an increase in the population, not a decrease in the population, which would be the case if they were systematically persecuted. Now let us talk about Bangladesh. When the liberation of Bangladesh was in the pipeline and when there was a war being fought over it, there was a persecution of Hindus and other religious minorities, and that is well documented and well known to the world. This happened in 1971, and also that caused the influx of several Bengali Hindus into Assam and other neighboring states. That also created a migration and immigrant crisis in those Indian states. Well, that is known and that did happen, and that is history that nobody is denying. But right now it is 2019, and to say that the persecution that took place in 1971 is still ongoing on such a wide scale all over Bangladesh is again a very wide leap, and there is no proof, there are no numbers to suggest so. Finally, Afghanistan. Afghanistan is a war-torn country, and it has been at war for various reasons for a very long time. Regardless of their religion, people in Afghanistan have been seeking refuge in Europe, in North America, because of the war that has displaced them. A long war that has been going on, which has displaced Afghani people. They have been looking for refuge everywhere, regardless of whether they belong to the religious majority or the religious minority. But this bill again only focuses on the religious minority of Afghanistan. Now, again, as per the 2018 report by the United States on international religious freedom, they have shown the statistics that only 0.3% of Afghanistan constitutes Hindus, Sikhs and Christians, and most of them have already fled the country because of the war. Now, if whatever remaining minorities are to come to India through the gateway of this bill, they will have to come through what we know as Pakistan Occupied Kashmir. And I have something very interesting to show you. This is the map of Jammu and Kashmir. Now, this part over here is Pakistan Occupied Kashmir along with this thin strip of land. This part over here is China administered Kashmir, the part that China has occupied, which is called as Aksai Chin. Now, India only shares its borders with Afghanistan through Pakistan Occupied Kashmir, as this is the border over here. This is Afghanistan. It extends, but India's border is only shared through this portion, which is under Pakistan administered Kashmir. So if Afghani migrants or immigrants were supposed to come to India, they would have to cross over the border that falls under the jurisdiction administration of the Pakistani government and the Pakistani army. How is that even possible geopolitically? That there are many loopholes such as this in the bill, and these are burning questions that need to be answered and need to be put to rest.